edition of Pro MFG Plant Maintenance and Asset Management Summit. The summit is presented by Loctite with TeamViewer as the associate partner, IITI Drishti CPS Foundation as the knowledge partner, and the Center for Lean and Six Sigma SRM Institute of Science and Technology as the academic partner. Pro MFG is a manufacturing-focused media company determined to create a positive impact in the Indian manufacturing sector by sharing best practices and creating an ecosystem where manufacturing thrives. We have leaders from the manufacturing sector joining us as speakers who, with their extensive knowledge of engineering principles, experience, and best practices, will throw light upon how to improve reliability, have centered maintenance, approach root cause analysis, and find ways for cost-effective inspection and maintenance. Now, I would like to invite Niranjan Mudholkar, the editorial director at Pro MFG Media, for his quick welcome note.
Thank you, Ramya. Good morning, everyone, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this industry-focused event. Let me begin quickly by thanking all our speakers, partners, and attendees. Well, this has been possible only because of you. At Pro MFG Media, it has been our endeavor to create and develop industry-oriented forums that add value to the entire manufacturing system. That is why, after the resounding success of the first edition in May 2021, we are delighted to present the second edition of this important summit. Friends, decades ago, when I was at the university, I studied American literature. And one thought that has always stayed with me since then has a lot of relevance to our summit today. It is a very insightful quote by American author Alan Weisman. And he said, "The real people who hold our civilization together are the maintenance people. It is because of them that the world runs." In fact, he even says that if we got rid of politicians and policymakers, the world would still keep going. But if you get rid of the maintenance people, everything will come to a standstill. It is on that note that we have conceptualized this particular summit because we understand the importance of maintenance, not just in manufacturing, but everywhere, in everything that we do. And while the stalwarts here today will talk about the tools, the time, and the technology that are required for maintenance, I thought it is important to pay a tribute to all these professionals because of whom the manufacturing industry and our economy runs. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. On that note, I wish you all a very fulfilling event. Of course, Ramya has already mentioned that one of our academic partners is the SRM University. And I am very happy to tell you that this particular event is being broadcast live at their seminar hall, where hundreds of students are watching this event right now live. Of course, there are hundreds of manufacturing professionals who are watching us, but it is also the hundreds of students who are watching us. So we obviously understand the importance of the summit like this. Thank you once again. And before I introduce the first industry speaker of the day, let us quickly watch a very interesting video.
Three grams of adhesive. 1 hour. $208 tons. Only one brand can make that math work. Loctite Universal Structural Bonders. So strong, versatile, and durable, there's no limit to what they can do.
That was fascinating. And it has also created the right background to introduce our first speaker of the day, Mr. Manish Singhal. Manish, who is the business director for General Industry India at Henkel, has had an illustrious and inspiring career spanning more than 25 years. He has worked in several companies like L&T, 3M, Kent, and of course Henkel in various roles and capacities. Working with the Henkel for the past 7 years, in 2020, Manish also got the responsibility as the head of sales and excellence for the Eastern Europe, India, Middle East, and Africa region. Of course, this is in addition to his existing role of business director. Thank you for joining us today, Manish. All yours. You can take it ahead from here.
Thank you, Niranjan. And we are proud to be partnering with Pro MFG for this maintenance excellence and maintenance event. For us, it has been decades of bringing in revolutionary solutions for manufacturing and maintenance experts. It is here that we've been making a difference to the industry over decades. Before I start introducing about what difference we are making and what new we are bringing in to the world of maintenance, a little brief about what Henkel is. We are, of course, the world's #1 adhesive manufacturer and supplier with a 10 billion euro market cap, 53,000 employees globally, 188 manufacturing sites. And I'm happy to share out of these, 9 sites are here in India, 23 R&D centers, 143 years of making a difference to our customers worldwide. In terms of business verticals, we are a chemicals major. Of course, adhesive technologies is where I belong. It is here that we are making a big difference to the world of manufacturing and maintenance. Some of the very exciting brands, globally regarded as world's #1 in hair colors, in beauty care, Schwarzkopf, DL, Sios, laundry, home care. I'm sure you would have heard about Henko, Prill, Persil, some global brands that have always made Henkel proud. With respect to what we are here in India, very, very strong footprints, 7 manufacturing units, one of the state-of-the-art plant end-to-end. A smart facility has come out in Kurkumbh, started 2 years back. This is a home for unique systems like ASRS or completely end-to-end smart manufacturing. Innovation centers in Pune and Koperkerne, which have around 60 PhD scientists who are brewing a lot of concoctions, bringing in very interesting products that are making a complete difference to the entire globe, not just here in India. 100 plus technical support engineers who are regularly contributing to the industry and bringing in reliability, cost saving, and close collaboration with R&D, bringing in solutions that are making a great difference to the world of manufacturing. A big network presence here in India, a big team of scientists making a world of difference. About Loctite started as a small drop of adhesive invented by Dr. Vernon Kriebel many decades back. Now, this revolutionary technology is changing how manufacturing works. Gone are the days of shrink fit or heat shrink fit or press fit. And now just a drop of a liquid adhesive or Loctite is able to provide you a push-out load equivalent to a shrink fit or a press fit. Imagine the world of reliability. Imagine the cost saving. Imagine the energy efficiency enhancement or reduction in carbon footprint. And yes, a small video to explain.
Since the first early human fashioned the first crude tools and put them to a task, there has been a bond between man and machine. They help us by performing tasks faster, more efficiently, more precisely, and with more power than we ever could. We help them by making sure they are designed and maintained to deliver on those tasks. What they are able to do for us is limited not by their capacities, but by ours, by what we are able to conceive and create. And so we build them, yes, and in many ways, they build us, our cities, our transportation, our communications, our connections, even our other machines. The Loctite mantra is simple. We love machines, and we make products that convey that love. From lubricants that improve performance to machinery adhesives that help them build other machines and repair them when needed. Because we believe that the bond between man and machine is a bond that should be protected, revered, respected. Loctite. We love machines.
And it is this love for machines that is helping us bring some customized solutions for maintenance industry. I'm today going to speak about a program that has been introduced 2 years back, but is making a world of difference. We are calling this a zero leakage program that we are offering to the industry, right from a complete survey to detection of leakages or potential leakages to providing a complete solution. The systems we have are able to detect even a leakage from an orifice of 0.1 mm. And at a distance of 20 meters, it can be detected. The team is equipped to conduct these surveys and provide a complete survey report, and then thereafter, state-of-the-art solutions. Now, what does a 0.1 mm leak mean for the industry? In 1 hour, it is a 42 liters of leakage. In a day, it is 1,000 plus liters of leakage. In 1 year, it is 3.67 lakh liters. Depending upon the oil, depending upon the gas, you can estimate the losses. And yes, a 0.1 mm leakage, and any plant may have hundreds of such unnoticed leakages. And it is here that we are contributing with a tremendous result, with a tremendous appreciation from industry majors. It's a team of experts that is identifying these leaks, even from very small orifices, even the false air leakages at a 20-meter distance, tagging them, doing the calculations. How much money is leaking out from this 0.1 mm leakage or a bigger leakage? And then providing state-of-the-art technology and solutions to repair it, to work completely leakage-free, trouble-free, or breakdown-free. Adding to the safety, adding to the reliability, somewhere reducing the carbon footprint. That's the Loctite mantra. That's what we've added to the industry as a solution to maintenance experts. Please contact us, contact our team of experts to provide you this fantastic solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singhal, for your wonderful presentation and also for sharing more insights about Loctite. Please stay back with us for the first panel discussion of the day. Now, I take this opportunity to introduce our other esteemed panelists for the first panel discussion. Let me start off with Ms. Lakshmi Umapati, Factory Manager, Caterpillar India Private Limited. A true woman manufacturing leader, she has over 27 years of experience in plant operations. Having started her career with Hindustan Motors, she has also worked with other manufacturing majors like Cummins, Schneider Electric, Kurlon Limited, and Kirloskar Brothers. Her work experience spans various departments like production, quality, safety, engineering, logistics, project management, utility, maintenance, business development, strategy, and even HR as well as finance. Thank you for joining us today, ma'am. Now, let me introduce the second panelist of the day, Ms. Sangeeta Sadafule, Vice President and Unit Head at SL Mining and Industries, Aditya Birla Group. Her 24 years of journey in manufacturing industries includes 15 plus years of experience at the top management level in MNCs, from setting up greenfield units to holding responsibility for the entire SBUs. Her expertise spans general management with P&L responsibility, operational excellence, lean management, project management, legal compliance, and new product line startup. Exposure to different work cultures like Indian, European, American, and Chinese make her a truly global professional. Thank you for joining us today, ma'am. Let me introduce the third panelist now, Mr. S.K. Satpathy, Head of Engineering with JK Tyre and Industries Limited. Besides being a key member in setting up the greenfield plant at Sri Perambatoor near Chennai, as well as all the major expansion there after, Mr. Satpathy went on to head the engineering function of the unit after its completion. Instrumental in implementation of advanced asset management techniques and adopting Industry 4.0 for making the shop floor reliable and predictable. He is also passionate about the green and sustainable initiatives. Welcome. The next panelist is Mr. Kapil Modi, Executive Plant Head, Tata Steel BSL Limited. This BTech in Electronics Engineering from NIT Jamshedpur has more than 25 plus years of experience in maintenance, project, TQM, and operations. His experience in the field of maintenance is approximately 14 years. At Tata Steel, he has played a key role in developing the quality assurance process for maintenance services. He has also successfully coordinated the Deming Grant Prize application and examination for maintenance, power, and utilities at Tata Steel in 2012. And now for the moderator of our panel discussion, Mr. Ravi Rama, Chief Architect and a trusted advisor when it comes to digital transformation as well as manufacturing excellence. He is the former Chief Architect for Industry 4.0, Industry IoT, Smart Manufacturing Platform Solutions at Robert Bosch Engineering and Business Solutions. Earlier, he was also with Tata Consultancy Services for 10 years as Manufacturing, IT and Plant Solutions Business Leader. Importantly, Mr. Ramarao believes that the way ahead forward is with sensors, software solutions, and platform. With that, I hand it over to Mr. Ramarao. Please take it ahead from here, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And Niranjan, it has been a fantastic welcome note. And thanks, Manish, for bringing in an adhesive to bond all the people together with a glue of maintenance and how to manage the assets, and let your adhesive be so strong, that we all have that bondage, as well as, we also have the little bit of a flexibility to move around during these panels, right? So with that note, let me just, take this opportunity to once again, welcome this eminent panel, which is very illustrious. And it's my honor and privilege to moderate such a wonderful team of experienced professionals and versatile, both in terms of functions, starting from research, maintenance, and factory and design, and also from industries. We have got process, discrete, and also various kind of variety within this broader classification of discrete and process industries. Having said this, let me set the ball in motion by starting off with the fundamentals of what are we going to be covering with this in this next 1 hour or so on the topic of how transformational asset management is being practiced in industries. Asset management, it means different things to different people. If you are going to be asking for some financial people, they will come up with financial assets as their topic, and they will say that how you can invest in securities, how you can invest in equity and mutual funds, and so on and so forth. But if you're going to talk to engineering professionals, they will talk about engineering assets, which are all expensive and which needs a lot of care. The way how we normally treat an infant, so that it matures into a wonderful adult. So that is how an industry will look at assets, and how you can really add value to this area of maintenance. Many people, they think maintenance as cost, and many people also think it is an investment into the future. And leadership plays a very, very important role in shaping up these concepts and strategies. And let me take the honor of inviting Lakshmi, who is heading the factory floor in the Caterpillar industry, to share her thoughts how leadership views this assets and maintenance, and where are the transformational initiatives are coming from a leadership perspective. Lakshmi, it's all yours.
Thanks, Ravi, for the welcome note, and thanks, Pro Manufacturing and the Loctite for hosting this panel discussion. A warm welcome to one and all the participants. So yes, I'm going to touch upon when it comes for the engineering industries, for industry for that matter, on the importance of TPM. As you all know, the total productive maintenance here, the first thing when it comes for the maintenance, we think of, yes, how do I control my cost, or how do I keep my equipment up? It's when we talk about the TPM, what is the objective of TPM? The TPM objective is to reduce or eliminate the losses. When we talk about losses, there could be many reasons for the lost productivity. And predominantly in TPM, we talk about the productivity improvement. It is not only on productivity improvement. If we take, TPM has got a blend of, many of you know that TPM has 8 pillars. The first pillar, it talks about the autonomous maintenance. So when it's the shift in the cultural transformation, I could say, when it comes for the maintenance, we typically in the legacy or the traditional industries, we used to have a set of maintenance team to work on the breakdowns, and then take the PM, preventive maintenance, and then plant maintenance, all this stuff. But the shift in any organization, if you really wanted to improve your productivity and then empower a team, you need to start the TPM. So the TPM is the first pillar, is autonomous maintenance. How do we maybe give a small fixing of the issues with the operator, or the one who operates the machine, is what the autonomous maintenance. So even a simple, it could be like, just to start with, on the cultural shift, it's a OPM, the operator perform maintenance. So it could be with a simple check sheet with the visuals, and then walking around the machine, and then doing that is the first step on the TPM initiative. And the second thing, when it comes, it is on, how do we focus on the Kaizen, or the continuous improvement? Anything for industry, the Kaizen is a one which is a continuous improvement. If you want to survive on any industry, we need to focus on keep improving, raising our bar, and then keep improving our resolution in terms of focusing on the continuous improvement. It is not like it's a continuous journey. It is like there is no destiny, like, okay, I've done this, I'm going to stop. So it's a journey. So we need to focus on the improvements on the machine as well as on the process. That is the second pillar of the TPM. The third one, when it comes to maintenance part, when it comes to maintenance, we need to shift our focus from the reactive maintenance, that is, when breakdown comes, we will put the salvage to fix the machine, to a predictive maintenance, and then the planned maintenance. So predominantly in the predictive maintenance, like, we need to have the domain experts. Like now the machine has got like way forward. It is only, we need to have an expertise in mechanical, expertise in electrical engineer to fix the problem. But now we need to have a blend. We need to have a specialist, maybe who could be specialized in the drives, who could be specialized in the electrical system, who could be specialized in the mechanical. So we need to identify, what kind of domain expert based on the historical performance, what kind of equipments you are having. Then you need to have the specialized person to perform, and to perform, not only to perform the plan predictive maintenance analysis, but to plan the spares, and then keep the equipment uptime. Because the TPM, we talk about three things as the objective. One is the unplanned or the zero downtime, and zero defect, and as well as the zero incident. So here the beauty of the TPM is like, though it talks about the 3 Zs, but let me touch upon the 3 things, 3 Fs as well, as find it and fix it and then follow it. If you find a problem, then you need to fix it, and then once you fix it, it's like, no, we have fixed we should not leave that asset. We need to follow up the action plans, what need to be done in a periodic manner by which it should be sustained results. So with that, I'm going to touch upon the next pillar, which talks about so it is like, okay, we have seen like operators have started doing the performance check, and then the supervisors or the section managers or they comes in, and then like they work on the improvement. The third pillar we talked about is on the continuous improvement. The third one is on how do we plan. Then comes the planning team based on the TPM performance of the machine. They should start planning for the early management of, should I have to invest on a new machine, or my life cycle of this machine, how long it is going to work with my, predictive and planned maintenance. So, and the next one comes like, okay, having said all these things, what is important is on the, how do we bring in the cross-functional team? Like now we have seen the maintenance, and then how do we pitch in the quality team so that the TPM, which focus on the productivity and giving a reliable product to the customer. So here, the quality tips comes in and make sure that the product, what we manufacture, it is a defect-free. So we need to focus on the process, on the defect-free processes by which my product is reliable. And for that, like we need to train the people on, how do they want certain initiatives, like, okay, the small fix can be done by the operators, and then like what the supervisors will take in. And there comes the training and education of the team. And next comes is the safety and sustainance. So the safety is a very important pillar, because unless the people are feeling comfortable in working on the machine, am I going to, the way in which I stepped into the factory, like should I have to leave the same premises, the safe culture. So safety culture is like, okay, how safe I am to work in this work environment. So there comes like, how do we avoid a safety incident while working on the machine. So the safety culture with the quality and then the predictive maintenance is what is going to give us a continuous improvement, by which the TPM is very much possible in any industries. So it is like, okay, here the empowered team is what we can see when we, start working on the TPM. And of course, many may think that like TPM is something which is a strategy. But most of the companies, like it has got a strong correlation with the lean principles, because the lean focus on elimination of the waste. So this is TPM is one of the strategic tool of lean, which focuses on how do we keep our machine productive with producing defect-free product is what we experience. And this is what demonstrated as I've worked in many industries. So always like, okay, my interest is like, okay, when I go to the shop floor, like, okay, I wanted to see the machine with the labeling and then the many tags. Many may feel that like, okay, if a machine has many tags, it means something wrong. It is not so. So that has got that much opportunity to work on the challenges by which we are, predicting early, okay, this is going to have this kind of, troubleshooting in advance, shifting our focus from reactive to the proactive, by which, we will ensure the productivity and the efficiency. So with that, I will end up my, maybe a small note on the importance of TPM. Thank you, Ravi.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Lakshmi. I know it is. It's a huge pressure on anybody to condense all these things and then elicit those key things and then talk within that kind of a time. I really appreciate the thought process, and it's not an easy job, and you have touched upon all the very key aspects of policy and framework, which is very much needed in maintenance. And just to pick it up, the things which what you have said, you talked about losses and you talked about TPM. You insisted heavily on TPM, and you also mentioned about the improvements. You talked about another important concept with respect to lean, and you also touched upon those 8 pillars. And another very important concept, which I just wanted. Many things you talked. Autonomous maintenance is something which you also emphasized. And find, fix, and follow up. That is also another important thing. The key is just not finding and not fixing, and how you can follow up. And you also mentioned about an empowered team, and you also talked about cultural change. Fine, all these things are very nice when it is within the boardroom and making all these presentations and beautiful things which can be talked about. But in reality, people like Satpathy, Kapil, and they all are challenged when they go on to the a field, and then they have to face a team which is not really interested in all these jazzy words and PowerPoints. In fact, they will not even appreciate any of these things. They just say that do it and show me so that I will believe it. Right? Just do it. That is what is the mantra when you go into the shop floor. In this context, I would like to bring Satpathy first, and later, another pioneer, Tata Group and Tata Steel, Kapil is there. I will come to you, Kapil, with some very interesting thoughts that what Lakshmi shared, which you may have to, you'll be able to definitely look at it from another perspective. But first, Satpathy, how much of all this decorative, TPM and all those things which Lakshmi talked, is it that easy that you can get it done in factories? And when you have a JK, I'm sure it will have at least a dozen factories spread over different states or countries and different set of people and culture. She just put it very simply, bring that cultural change. I just want to hear from you. Is it that easy? Just flip a coin and then, you get bring that cultural change and make it work? Is it that simple? I just want to hear from you, Satpathy.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. You have talked about a very important subject. What is really happening in the shop floor? As you said, we in JK Tires, we have got 12 different plants across the globe. The culture is different. Plant, the age or the vintage group is different, and every plant that is commissioned and started up. So obviously the challenges are different for different plants. And the question is how to bring all together onto a common platform and see that what the brand JK Tire we produce is the same product from each plant that is coming rolling out. Yes, it is a challenging thing. So, but the thing is, as a maintenance in charge or engineering head of JK Tire, my prerogative is to see that we are producing top class products. To produce a top class product, our process has to be very robust, dependable, maintainable, and trustworthy. To have a defect-free and trouble-free process, we have to have our equipment on top class. It's not only equipment, and also the people they operate, they maintain, they have to be on a skillful and resourceful, so that they can deliver and do justice to their the need of the business. So it is not that difficult also in the same time, because now the things are changing, and the technology is taking a very big role into the maintenance sector. If you have seen last over 100 years, the maintenance or the practices that we follow to upkeep the equipment is evolving. Like olden days, there used to be run to failure technology when we try to sweat the asset till it fails, and then we fix it, and then we wait for the next failure or the life that is coming up. But the things have changed, then people have gone into time-based maintenance. Yes, CPM talks about very much emphasis on these maintenance practices, be it TVM, be it condition-based monitoring, preventive maintenance, all those things. But the things are is evolving and improving, and newer ideas, newer technologies are coming into the field. So now people talk about reliability centered maintenance. So when you talk about reliability centered maintenance, it is a strategy adapted by different businesses to suit their requirement, to suit their equipment that they have, to the manpower or the operating people that they're in the system. So what exactly it is like for every part of the plant or every part of the equipment, we should adapt a different strategy. Strategy in the sense different maintenance practices that will be carrying out. Suppose we may decide, yes, this is the critical equipment of the plant, the bottleneck equipment. We have to have different strategy to maintain it. When I'm talking about strategy, it is basically like what we should be doing it to see that this equipment is not hampering my complete output. It is not taking the complete plant to a runtime. So for that, we are mostly into condition-based systems, condition-based monitoring, and also a lot of predictive tools is being used. And like predictive tools, like we are monitoring the conditions, the vibrations, the what do you call it, the analysis of the noises that is coming into from the equipment, the temperature profile studies of different parts, life cycle monitoring. See, every equipment has got a definite life. As a engineering team or maintenance team, it is our prime responsibility to see that we are maintaining the desired life of that equipment, and then we have taken actions to prolong the life, and we take corrective and
Satpathy, I have a question here. Sorry to ask this in between. As I said, this is fine to have it as a strategy, and then talk about all these things. What is the tool with which you are able to see this? Because as I said, people on the ground, they should have some tangible measures to really look at. So how much amount of the sensors, IoT, or this kind of a machine learning and artificial intelligence, these are, I'm talking about enablers, right?
Yeah.
Lakshmi talked about strategy and then the policies and principles. And you also, you're covering from the strategy aspects. Very well done. Absolutely, it is very important. The framework is important. But on the ground, how do you enable them? How the technology is playing the role of an enabler?
Yeah. See, for a maintenance.
Do you use, to make it even a bit simple, what kind of a dashboards that you create? And these dashboards, are they, you can see it from anywhere? And are you able to benchmark, say like plant A, it is in, say, in Chennai. Can you compare with another plant anywhere in the part of the world? Can you compare the productivity of a particular equipment? You talked about people, equipment, and processes. So how do you really benchmark the processes? How do you benchmark the people? How do you benchmark the equipment? So what are the technology enablers that you bring? Because that will be, the key aspect for all of us to hear from.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ravi. You have very rightly put it. Technology is definitely playing a big role in enabling the maintenance team to take. Like we have installed sensors for all the key process parameters, key equipment measurement, and it is all through IoT systems. Now all our plants are integrated now, like various processes, as you said, right across the single desk. I can see what is happening to my same equipment at different plants, and even we have multiple, like tire is a discrete and continuous combined and manufacturing process. So wherever multiple equipment of the same process is available, I can compare it on a single dashboard, how my equipment A versus equipment B on the same room it is performing to give me the similar product. So how it is happening is, it is definitely we are taking a lot of leverage from the technology that is available right now, be it IoT with the sensors, but it is not only stopping there. Like yes, sensors are present on my process, on my equipment to give me data. So now the question is, what I am going to do with the data? If it will be throwing me billions or millions of data bits every moment of time. So then we are now into various data analysis, data engineers are working, and they are filtering the data that is coming from the equipment, and they are creating customized data for the different section of the plant. Like if I am a maintenance person, what are the key information that I will be looking from the process that will be driving my next course of action? And similarly, we have defined dashboards for our team, dashboards for the business head, and dashboard for our director. So when I'm talking about the dashboard, it is the equipment and process data that is coming in. Then same time we are taking the inputs from the energy. The energy also a very vital factor that decides my performance and then the output. So on a single platform, I am comparing the process data, my equipment data, the energy that is consuming, and the various sensors that is giving me the vibrations, the equipment conditions, the temperature profile, so that I at a given platform or given dashboard, I can see what is happening, and then we have a lot of algorithms created to take automated decisions. Like if something goes wrong, it will not wait for the maintenance person or the operation team to raise an alarm and then stop the machine and take action. What we have done is we have automated it so that it is now escalating to the area in charges, so that they immediately know if something is going to go wrong or something, the attention is required. So immediately the next course of action starts. And if it is not attended or it is a very serious number, then there is a escalation procedure and it goes to the area manager and the plant head in that manner. So that the team is focused, the actions are now streamlined and taken in right time, right perspective, so that we are not looking into a major breakdown. Similarly,
I have a question here.
Yeah,
right. So we keep hearing about a lot of things with respect to various myriad of technologies, and a lot of things for many people, they think they are buzzwords. But hearing from you, you say that the machines are able to alert the operator, hey, I am running into some troubled waters, I need some help. And there somebody can come and have some kind of an intervention. Have we gone further? I'm talking from your use cases. The machines, can they self-correct themselves? May not be in a larger scale, but at least in certain areas, saying that I have learned, right? I have understood this. I will auto-correct myself within the permissible limits, what it is. Have you tried such kind of things in maintenance?
Yeah, I'll just give a live use case that we have done recently. See, whenever we launch a new product, new SKU of tire, it has to go for a very stringent testing mechanism before we launch to the market. So we have got various equipment, and they are all IoT enabled, fitted with a lot of sensors and scanners. So what actually happens when we are launching a tire, we actually test it to the extent it fails. Up to that, so that we know the life, then we know the load carrying capacity, so we know that driving comfort, all those things. So it is a destructive test. Whenever we are doing a destructive test in a very automated machine, what happens is when the tire fails or bursts in an inflated condition, which is carrying a high pressure inside the tire, when the air releases, it definitely damages a lot of sensors and scanners and stuff. And so it is a huge cost. Again, we have to refix. So all those things. Then what our team has thought over it, how to, yes, it is required, and how to more automate that, and we should give a pre-alarm like kind of thing. So what we have thought is, and what we have implemented in one of our sophisticated equipment of testing, is to whether we can predict when the tire is going to fail. Because it's a new developmental tire, we don't know what is the life is going to be. So whether we can accurately predict it. So that when team has worked upon that, we have what do we two things we introduce. So there are n number of sensors or scanners were there. What we thought, the two vital things we can add upon to it is whether we can measure the tire inside temperature during operation, during these simulated conditions, how the inside the temperature that is building up, and that triggers the failure. So we started monitoring the air trapped inside the tire and what is the temperature behavior profile of that. And then second, before the tire fails in operation, normally it grows. The diameter or OD of the tire, there is a slight amount of growth, which is not visible in the naked eye. So what we have done, we have put a scanner to monitor the tire OD growth. And these two are coming directly from the raw data coming from the equipment, and it is predicting me what is the present condition of the testing, and when that it gives me like when the tire is going to fail. Suppose it's a continuous process, it goes about a week or 10 days time. So it tells me next 10 minutes this tire is going to fail. So whether you want to abort the test or you want to continue. So it depends upon that. So
Satpathy, this I have a question. Now, are you taking this data directly also from running tires which are on the road, or it is only in your factory premises?
Yeah, see, running tires also not to this extent, but we are
fine. I'll come back to you, Satpathy, on this. This is very good insight. You know how you are really getting into even predicting the life expectancy of the tires. And you talked a lot about, in terms of maintenance and then how the dashboarding and sensors are coming into picture. And there are two aspects which I wanted to, in fact, three aspects I wanted to cover. One is, how environment and then, zero harm and zero breakdown are being considered at a thought process. And also, how you can look at even that maintenance conceptually from a different angle, right? Rather than MTBF, MTTR, and all those kind of stuff. Is there any other innovative way of looking at this? That is my another question. And the third one is, how an ecosystem for such kind of a conversation for asset management happens. So in this context, Kapilji, I will come back to you regarding the conceptually how Tatas are trying to look at it. Are you also looking at very similar to how JK Tires is doing? I'll just come back to you quickly. But before going into it, there's a lot of emphasis that has been given by both Lakshmi and Satpathy about maintainability. That is, it comes in terms of the thoughts which are going in for design aspects. And the one thing which, obviously goes into it in the modern day parlance is how safe it is, and how we are taking care of environment, and how we are taking care of the health and safety of the people and also equipments. Sangeeta, do you have some thoughts in this direction? I just want to hear from you.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Ravi. So on this aspect, I would like to say that how you look at things, like everyone mentioned, whenever there is a change is always difficult to assimilate or sink down. Yeah. So how do we work on this? And the other thing is, every day there are challenges in operations. You talk about it every time. You have challenges. You have to keep on working. But if you have challenges and you sit back with these challenges, then it will be difficult. You have to look at it in a different way. You have to look at challenges as opportunities for improvement and continual improvement. On this, your assets play an important role. The selection of the assets also play an important role. Like I would like to give some ground examples where everyone talks about strategies. There are big jargons, lean management, but in every day, as Ravi rightly said, that people get scared also with these big words and how to work on it, how to use it in the day-to-day management. So here I would like to throw some light on what were the challenges that we in our plant were facing and how we use them as an opportunity to move forward. So first thing, like everyone out here is aware that sustainability is becoming an important parameter in everyday life. So for us also, the challenge, we had our ABG standards of sustainability, which we had to adhere. There were 3 basic steps for achieving our ABG sustainability standards. The first step was the responsible stewardship. So when we listen or hear about the responsible stewardship, it feels like, wow, what should I do about it? That's when you get into it and you understand it properly, then you realize that it is nothing but your compliance, whatever compliances are there, be it legal, be it your group compliances, that you have to adhere to. So if I talk about my unit, it is in the vicinity of the residential. So we have in few meters of distance, we have the residential facilities around us. So as a organization, and our plant is into manufacturing of ferro alloys, which calls in for hydrometallurgy and chemical reactors. So here we see that we have to be very cautious about how we handle all these legal compliances. So for example, if I could say that in our processes, ammonia is there. So ammonia has a pungent smell. So to handle this, we have to be very critical on it. So these were the challenges that our team was facing. And so to overcome this, like when we were handling these drums, we looked at automation so that no manual interference is there. Everything is in a closed system, and so the leakages and things like that and polluting the external environment is reduced. That's how this challenge was converted into an opportunity for improvement or doing better. And what was the impact of this? The people working in that area also were better now, in a better position to handle that activity. This was the outcome. The second step for our sustainability was stakeholder engagement. In this, I would say that in stakeholder engagement, I would mostly first refer to the biggest stakeholder. Our biggest asset is our people, so the employees. Yeah. So when handling of the raw material, ours is a hazardous process. So handling of each material is very critical. So initially in the plant, we had material lifts for handling the raw material, but that was not sufficient. With time, we had to think and develop different processes where we could handle it more safely and less hazard. When we talk about hazards or risk, we should first think on elimination of the hazard. And then the second would be, if you cannot eliminate, how can you reduce the intensity? So that is how we worked on. And now after that, we had to tailor make our conveyor system where it would directly drop the raw material into the reactors, and the manual intervention was almost zeroed off. So this is how I look at it, that okay, there are a lot of things, and maintenance of these assets also. First is the selection of the assets, and the second is the maintenance of the assets. Our team members have already talked about how to maintain the assets. So I just thought of touching upon how you select the asset. So this is the other thing that I would stress as an example, that how you do continual improvements on your assets to ensure whatever pain areas are there, they are overcome and they become easy on your stakeholders, that is the employees. Then the third step was the future planning, means looking at the future proofing. So our chairman had given us target of zero harm and ZLD. So we were in the process of looking for a ZLD. ZLD is multi-effect MEE, that is the multi-effect evaporator. That's the simplest way, where you evaporate your liquid, and then whatever salt is generated, it goes to the dumping yard. But then our team was looking one step ahead on how to reduce the load on these dumping sites, because in future everyone is clear that space is a constraint, and the future your dumping site capacities would reduce, and if there is supply demand, then the prices of handling the waste would go up. Considering this parameter, what was thought of, how can the salt in the effluent be converted into a usable product? So when we explored it, we found that there is freeze crystallization by which we could extract the sodium sulfate in the purest form, and that could be used as a raw material for other industries. So this is how we have to convert our challenges into opportunities. Here again, regarding the asset is like what equipment are you selecting? You have to do the right selection at the right time so that it is good enough for the future. That's what I would like to say on the operational challenges and how we can manage any change that is coming ahead of us in operations.
Brilliant.
Thank
brilliant,
you, Ravi.
Brilliant, Sangeeta. No, it is. It's very, very tough. Very tough. I'm telling you. Every one of you are handling a subject which is vast, both in terms of width and depth. And for the students who are, watching SRM, and also for the industries people who are all looking at it, there are lots and lots of bullets are coming out. These are all coming out of practical experience. And
Ravi,
then,
one more thing.
yeah, please.
One, one more thing, Ravi, I would like to add here. So here again, we had some, was first thing is whenever it comes to leadership, we all focus on the productivity part of it. So when the equipment selection is there, we are very focused on the product, the machinery selection is done very precisely. But when it comes to the handling the waste part or the scrap part, that much focus is not there. So I would like to give a simple example there also, because this also hinders our whole process. But always we try to ignore this part. So that is where I would like to give one more example. Like we had to have our effluent treatment done, and the effluent had a solid and a liquid. So we had to separate out the solid and a liquid. We used to do it in the normal filter press, yeah. But here a lot of manual handling was there, and as I told you, we have ammonia in our process. So when manual handling, there's a interaction. People have to do it manually, so the ammonia is not good. Means the smell only is very pungent, and handling it becomes a. So this was our pain area. So our team thought about it, and then on the effluent or the ETP part, we thought about automation of automatic filter press. In our plant, we have the first of its type automatic filter press to handle the effluent treatment. And now the people don't have to do anything manually. They just have to press the button and then it goes. Or after that, the waste is separated and the effluent is separated. So this is also
Thank you very much, Sangeeta. I know I'm sorry I have to intervene. Always the time moves forward and it doesn't give the luxury of either pausing it or taking it back, right? I just wanted to see there are a lot of enterprising people, and I generally focus on youngsters, who are into this college and coming out. See, they always, I have got a great love for all these guys. They come with very clear thoughts and uncorrupt, no corporate thinking in their minds. So they come and fresh with a lot of ideas. So, dear friends, students, please focus on these part which she said. One is, about the responsible stewardship and stakeholder management and future proofing. I'll give you a classic example. So, companies can go bust and the economies can change if you are not going to address the environmental aspects and the health safety aspects very, very carefully. India as a country, from copper plus, right, we have gone into deficit because of, one of the companies which is located, in down south, they have to shut it down. Now it is more than 2 years. It is shut down, and we are now importing copper. You know how significant for a country like India when we are going to import a country which is needing a lot of infrastructure, and we are going in for importing a copper and depending on somebody else to provide you, and the price fluctuates. So that is the damage it can cause, if you are not going to really look at the environment, health and safety. And I would recommend, please get in touch with any one of us and all of us to get your thoughts, ideas, where I can put my technology. I'm sure, you people will be hungry to say that, I will do this here, I will put the sensor here. And when you're going to start your work, that's where you will be overawed with where I am going to really come up with an application which is going to impact. Every one of these bullets, which you can rewind later and then look at it, gives plenty of opportunities for you to really go and enable these concepts into tangible benefits for the organization. And just, I know Manish and Kapil, I'm holding you back, and then I also need to pass it on to Pro MFG. So it is like
Ravi, you have the liberty of taking away all my time and let Sangeeta speak. Her words are music. So please,
but I have got another, very, very powerful person. He has got both names are also, it is very powerful, Kapil and Modi. So I have to also recognize him, right? One is a powerful hitter and another person is another powerful man, right? So I can't hold him back. You are kind, right? So, thanks for your time. And I'm sure, I want to hear from you, Modi ji, how you look at it. Tata Steel is a pioneer. And I still remember, see, I come from a Tata background. I know how much amount of emotional attachment the group has on Tata Steel. And it all started with, right, when Jamshedji and then J.R.D. Tata, when they had that vision carrying forward in making it steel, the comments from Westerners were, oh, they are going to make steel? They can eat it, right? This is the very, very famous comment that was made to ridicule that, we can't build steel. And I'm talking about the 1902s and 1903s. I have visited your plant, and it's amazing. It's a pride of the nation. So I have great regards for the group, and also especially for this plant. I just want to hear, is this how you also look at it, or you don't just care about all these things? These are all for bachon ka khel hai, right? I just want to look at it in a different way, right? I care for where it ultimately matters, right? What is your thought process in this? How do you look at maintenance? I just want to hear from you.
Thank you, Ravi. First of all, a very good morning to everyone, panelists and the listeners. I think we heard a vast gamut of subject in maintenance, and we being 100+ year young company, we have gone through all the stages. Whether we talk of reactive, preventive, TPM. Sometime back, we were in midst of what next, because we strongly believe that cultures are built through system and processes. Of course, emotions does play a significant role, and local dynamics does play a role, but we depend heavily on system and processes. And throughout in last 30-40 years, we have been implementing quality assurance in various aspects of our business, but we never thought of implementing same in maintenance. So sometime back when we were wondering how to have a quality assurance in maintenance, our first and immediate thought was, let us maintenance quality assurance can be measured in terms of reliability, in terms of MTBF, FTTR, and availability. That's a very, very conventional and standard method. But then we said, why can't we, from maintenance team, measure how much we impact on product quality and the customer complaint or the product the company produces? Initially, we all struggled, is it really our scope? But then we said, why not? This could be one of the best method of prioritizing equipment, which requires a very different approach of maintenance, a very focused approach of maintenance. Because any type of maintenance approach you say has a cost. So if you go for TBM, it is costliest. If you go for condition-based, you optimize the cost. But when it comes to product quality, you can't optimize, you should not. For product quality is one of the most important things to manage. That's why the machines are there. So what we did is we brought in a new system and process in which the customer's requirements were first converted into product specifications. Those product specifications were then mapped to the equipments and the maintenance practices, and what equipment behavior or equipment condition or maintenance practices can lead to such deviations were then listed down. And then what we did is that we identified very specific maintenance processes so that we don't lead to such kind of defects and complaints. Ultimately, this entire system was brought into a system and process so that management understands its own language, whereas workmen understands on their own language. It's very important for workmen to appreciate what they're contributing for. So they have to see the purpose behind what new you bring in. So we brought in that purpose, that kind of work you're doing, you are actually impacting the end customer directly with your work. And that gave very, very good impetus. Then we standardized the processes and the formats at every stage, and we implemented this quality assurance. However, in maintenance, quality assurance cannot stop at this. So we also had a very strong quality assurance so that we reduce interruptions year on year. And for that, two things again plays a very significant role. One is the way you buy spares and consumables. So we brought in a special quality assurance system for procurement of spares and consumables. This also involved a very strong and stringent process for our sub-vendors who manufacture spares and consumables for us. So we go and audit, there is a defined process for that. And this has yielded very, very strong result for us in maintenance field. Just to give you one example, So motor is one of the items in the plant, and we used to have some 200 motor failures per month in the entire works. With these kind of practices, we brought it down to 2 per month over the period, and in that period, number of motors increased to double of the original. So looking at all this is one aspect. Second aspect, which is very important, is the calibration process, because most of the product parameters are measured through some kind of instruments, either the process parameters which impact the product or the product parameters. So we brought in very different focus on that, so that they are measuring rightly and our defects reduces. In fact, finally, some of the quality defects were made the KPI of the maintenance team. So they own those quality defects as complete owner and not necessarily the production department.
Excellent. Just I'd like to take a pass here, Kapilji.
Yeah.
So for all the audience listeners, this is a paradigm shift. This is a paradigm shift. When you are going to measure maintenance with respect to your end user product quality and complaints, right? And this is a game changer. This is a game changer. Please, please underline this. This is a game changer. You don't come across these kinds of, tangential thinking, out of the box thinking. If you really look at as maintenance, I myself have got hands-on experience. I interact with so many industries and so many leaders. I'm telling you, not many people, maybe Tata's is the first of its kind to come up with such a kind of mind-blowing concept. This is very, very different. This gives ample opportunities for any technology which is hot in the market now. You take data science, you take artificial intelligence, you go in for your predictive and your prescription, any of these things. Dear friends, students, please mark this. It's just not confined to, as a steel as a product. It can be applied to anything, any product. And if you're going to equate that with your equipment and process and attribute this quality as a measure and make use of technology as an enabler, this is going to have tremendous amount of impact. And Kapilji was mentioning from 200 motors stopping and giving issues, it has become 2. And mind you, this 200 has become 400. And just look at the end customers' pleasantness with their customer experience. Customer centricity is the keyword. And really fantastic, Kapilji. I'd be happy, those people who are listening, they just invite you to their college and make you talk about it for maybe half a day. I think that is still worth it. Please go ahead, Kapilji.
Because the topic of the panel discussion also talks about technology and new trends, I would like to add upon how we move forward on the subject. So with the advent of Industry 4.0, we not only brought in lots of implementation of IoT, both in the area of quality assurance as well as safety, but we brought in use of analytics. Now, we are manufacturing industry and it has lots of processes. Each process has multi-variables which can impact this quality. Now, it would be almost impossible for humans to crunch those many information and predict that you may have a defect. For example, in a steel making at casting stage, we have built-in analytics which can predict defect that this casting can have this defect, like a sticker. Similarly, right now in my unit at Kopoli, we are working in galvanizing line where we can have adherence defect problem. And we know there are some 10 to 20 equipment and 10 to 20 parameters which can impact it. It's very difficult we can detect only when it has happened. We are working on a predictive analytics model which can predict that it can happen after 5 minutes. We did similar exercise in my previous assignment, a pelletizing plant, where we have a ball mill to grind the iron ore. There, the circuit used to get jammed once, twice, or 3 times in a month, and it used to result in loss of 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. We brought in predictive technology. We used all the data and built a model which predicts that after 30 minutes, your mill circuit can go jam. You can reduce the feed so that you can avoid the jam. And we could eliminate the jam. So this is a kind of implementation of the technology, even in the quality assurance as well as the reliability.
How much I wish to hear from you, Kapil ji. I have to do this very dirty job of, saying that I have got a clock which is ticking away, right? Extremely, extremely sorry and profound apologies. I have to stop you here, right? It is against my wish. I myself would like to hear from you, right? It is brilliant. It has been, I've become a little bit less ignorant today, after hearing from you. And thank you so much for enlightening us with such a concept. And it has been our pleasure. And I have to make a mention. I have great respects for the gentleman. The photographs which you are having it behind you, Jamshedji, JRD, and who is the gentleman in between them? I'm curious. Oh, okay. So my sincere pronouns to all these stalwarts, and we as a nation, really, we are lifting our heads, and then, we are walking high. It's because of visionaries like these great souls. And I'm also equally, pleased that, you are leading the way, with so many things happening here. And sincere thanks for sharing, a lot of things here. And Manish ji, I have to come to you. I have to at least take a few minutes of yours. I will not let you go, though you have been generous in saying that I can give my time. So I just, for the want of time, I will just give you 2 minutes. And so many things they talked about it, right? Do you think it is like a Arnold Schwarzenegger job who comes up, or a Rambo who comes with a big machine gun and then starts firing? Is it a one-man job, or it is an ecosystem? And it's multiple players coming into picture. How do you manage this vendor ecosystem? It's again complex. I know you got is 2 minutes to do. It's very tough, but then that's your job.
Thank you, Ravi, for using those very kind words of less ignorant. I am certainly a lot less ignorant after listening to Lakshmi speak about TPM, continuous improvement. Satpati, of course, liability-centered maintenance. Very strong words. Actions to prolong life. Sangeeta, wonderful listening to you. Converting challenges to opportunities. That should be the daily mantra for all maintenance experts. ZLD, and of course, Kapil, Modiji. Such power-packed words. Defect-free maintenance, customer centricity, and maintenance keeping the customer in mind. You brought in concepts like reliability and cost centricity. And that's what we stand for at Henkel. Some of the technologies introduced by Loctite over the years are designed towards providing 3 fundamental solutions to maintenance experts like you all. And this is to prolong, 1, life of assets, the mean time between failures, how we can prolong it, how we can totally eliminate breakdowns, how we can enhance the efficiencies, and how we can add on to the sustainability. With these 3 mantras, there has been a lot of scientific efforts done at our R&Ds, innovation centers, even here in India. I'm happy to share some such contributions, and one of them is the introduction of oleophobic coatings. You would be aware about some of the regular ceramic coatings where a surface contact angle of 75 degrees is the maximum that can be achieved. We are here talking about 110 degrees. Probably water gliding on to these surfaces coated with these oleophobic Loctite coatings. And what we are trying to achieve here is, just a small example about a pump volute, energy enhancement in a worn-out pump casing or an impeller of 12%, up to 12%, even in new 3% enhancement in efficiencies, thereby a reduction of 1,500 metric tons of CO2 footprint annually, estimate. So these are some of the contributions, and just not introducing newer technology, helping and supporting the industry experts like the eminent panelists who spoke before me, but also our commitment to Industry 4.0, or we call it MRO 4.0, by introducing sensors to these coatings. How can we make these coatings smart? How can we make them interact with some of the systems that all the experts spoke about? A coating that gives the flow rates, the efficiency, the power consumption, its own thickness, and ask for replacement. So yes, so that's the direction we have with us now. And I am, of course, a lot more enlightened after listening to all the maintenance experts. Thank you, Raviji, for giving me these 2 minutes. But this was more of a thank you note to all the eminent panelists who spoke before me.
Talking on mute. Thank you very much. It has been a great pleasure, hosting this eminent panel. And let me just walk around for a minute, just only one word that, just want to hear from you. I'll just go through the panel. And I'll start with you, Manishji. And in this transformational asset management, what is the top of the mind recall for you? The top one thing, if you want to say, what is that to focus on?
So, zero breakdowns.
Zero breakdowns. Okay. Satpati.
Yeah, it is leveraging the technology to the maximum.
Leveraging the technology. And Sangeeta?
Know your machines.
Know your machines. Okay. Know your customer. Know your machines. Okay. Lakshmi.
Yeah, here the leadership, leader as a role model in demonstrating on the TPM or the 5S.
That's a leadership. So the strategy and thought process. And Kapil ji, what is that, you would say that top of the mind recall for you?
Sustainability through technology.
Sustainability through technology. Dear friends, these are all the words of wisdom from, all these learned people. And if you just look at it, they have got over 150 years of combined experience. And definitely you need to, pay a lot of attention to what they have said. And once again, thank you very much. And I really appreciate your time. And I thank Pro MFG Media for organizing this wonderful panel. And I also thank them for giving me an opportunity to moderate this wonderful set of human beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much to all our esteemed panelists, and thank you so much, Mr. Ravi Ramarao, for wonderfully moderating this session. It was extremely insightful, and I'm sure all our attendees would have something to take away from this beautifully moderated session. So friends, we now move ahead with the next slot that we have, and a very interesting one. We'll now run a 30-second poll. Kindly participate and share your views. The results of the poll will be shared on your screen. So here comes the first question. Let's get ready for the second question. And we have now the third question coming up. Once again, thank you so much for your active participation in the poll as well. We will now kickstart the second track of the summit, which is the Fireside Chat. The topic of the chat is smart maintenance, and it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce the expert speaker who has joined us today. A result-oriented professional having 25 plus years of successful career with diverse roles, distinguished by commended performance and absolutely proven results. He has expertise in transforming and driving manufacturing units as well as teams towards key strategic and operational success. At present, he is working as the Executive Director Manufacturing with Dalmia Bharat Cement Unit Rajgangapur. Please welcome Mr. Chetan Srivastava. And please once again welcome Mr. Ravi Rama, who will be engaging with Mr. Srivastav in this stimulating interaction. All yours, Ravi.
Yeah, thanks, Niranjan. I was wondering, was it a problem at my end? And so I really, thank you very much. I just want to, I feel a bit relaxed now, so that it is nothing wrong at my end. Yeah. Good morning, Chetanji. And I don't know what he was talking. Anything that I missed out, maybe, that can be the beginning to our chat.
Yeah, good morning. So he was Niranjan. Good morning and thank you. He was just introducing the topic, which is
Good morning, Chetanji. Ravi, there was nothing that you missed. I was just introducing Chetanji. So you can take it ahead from here now.
Okay. Hope you didn't take an opportunity to just pull my leg, right? So anyway, I couldn't defend myself. Yeah, Chetanji, that is a good beginning, and I just want to hear from you. What can we talk about it? Shall we talk something which is very interesting, because a lot of youngsters are there. So we'll just hijack from whatever the topic is, and we'll get into a
Sure.
kind of a chat. So what is that you want to talk about?
Yeah. So incidentally, I was just attending another conference where we have got around 45 people attending at one location. In our location, the unit where I am located now. And topic is green fuel. So why I am talking about this is I just came from there and joined here.
Oh, okay.
Because now inputs are like, really doing adventurous things. When you talk about fuel, or when you talk about raw material, or when you talk about all operating conditions. Earlier, power generation units used to operate in a mode where even if they are stopping for, say, in a 6 months period or 1 year period, they used to consider it as major shutdown and thing. And now there are power units which may be stopping every day also. So number one thing is that in terms of factors or unit, entire scenario is quite contrary to whatever baselines were set by industry in last 50 years or 60 years. So you don't have those inputs now, you don't have those operating conditions now. And you don't have those kind of competencies now, because people are now continuously moving. Earlier, people used to join one organization and then you can expect them to be with you for 15 years or 20 years. But now 3 years is when people start asking or start thinking. And then there are, like, if you look at IT, it might be 1 year, 1.5 years also. So that means really, if you see this kind of inputs and the kind of analysis you can do in these varying conditions. So those smart concepts are going to be really beneficial. In fact, they are being really beneficial. And giving many of those things to certain algorithms or certain IoT-based technologies, or it is going to be the thing which will drive industry. And same thing goes ahead with maintenance also. If you look at maintenance, earlier we were like, there was a period when people used to do, after breakdown, they used to analyze breakdown. Now we don't analyze breakdown, we analyze only present variations. And so suppose, for example, earlier we used to talk in terms of like a bearing, suppose it is there, then it can sustain 75 degree or 85 degree. We used to talk in those terms. Now we are talking that a bearing is supposed to run at ambient plus 15 degree or in ambient plus 20 degree or like that. And the moment it is moving from 15 degree to 16 degree or 17 degree, ambient plus 17 degree, that is the time when you start reacting. And this cannot happen without use of IoT, or without use of AI, or without use of such kind of smart trends or dashboard which will start projecting to you. And now lately what I am seeing is you don't need computer also for doing all this. You have a mobile and everything can happen there. So you can get an alarm, like a notification that this particular machine, this bearing is showing a trend where 3 last readings were on rising, even if it is in very much in operating condition. but please react. And now we are trying to configure those kind of messages into what reaction I should do that also.
Then I can't believe you. Okay.
So like
the reason is, okay, I'm really, putting you onto the, hot seat. Okay. I want to hear from you. See, cement is one of the oldest industries, right? You're joking saying that, you're telling all these new age things and, putting it into legacy systems. This is one of the oldest industries. That means oldest equipments. And you think that, I'm sure, you guys talked something when I was not there, and then now you're just pulling the legs, right? I want to hear from you. Jokes apart, this is a formidable challenge. When you have got legacy equipments and legacy systems there, how are you sounding so cool saying that, I can see everything on my mobile phone, right? I have done projects in cement companies and very old companies, the ACC Cements, and also have visited, one of your plants near Salem. So I know it's a humongous challenge. Both, I was in a panel just before this conversation. They talked about cultural change, mindset change, and then they talked about how they can train the manpower. They talked about environments, health and safety about it. And one thing which they didn't talk about it, which I want to ask you here is old and legacy equipments. I'm sure you won't have thrown it away, right? It is functioning, it is running good, and you have to introduce things which are new age. And you say that, I have got an equipment which I purchased 30 years back. It has got a Bluetooth connectivity. It can have my Wi-Fi. I can even put a SIM card and then see it anywhere in mobile. That's not easy. How did you do that?
So it's like you have asked very right question. Talk about that. But incidentally, cement has been, if you ask me, for last 10, 12 years, cement has been growing like anything. And when you grow as an industry, people really put money into innovating things. And that too, Indian cement industry is the most innovative cement industry across the world. Even if you look at China or Europe, anywhere. So that brings us into a conversation where, people came out every year, cement puts in crores and crores of capexes only to innovate. And each innovation is linked with some kind of improvement. Like, just to give you a number, power consumption for making every ton of clinker till very recently, 10, 15 years ago, was more than 100. And now we are talking about, like this plant, I'm running at less than 40 kilowatts per ton of clinker. So, and it cannot happen because of you are like, so then it brings us back to the question that what was done. So every time an efficient motor came in, cement industry was quick to buy. Every time a new technology which can be mounted on top of a bearing housing, cement industry was quick to buy. Even every time there was a PI server or like any historian module which was there, cement industry was immediately grabbing it, and it is very much discussed across businesses. And we respond very fastly. This is not only a case of one business, it is a case of everybody, whether you are talking about Dalmia Cement, whether you are talking about Ultratech, whether you are talking about ACC, everywhere that phenomena I have seen very clearly, or whether even if you are talking about Sri Cement. So the last 10 years, they have changed their fuel, they have changed their equipment sensing mechanism, they have changed the mindset of their people. And since I come from a power plant background, basically, so I can very much relate with power industry when it comes to this thing. Power industry hasn't been growing, in fact, it is degrowing. Now what happens is that you don't put that kind of money in that kind of industry where, so anything new happens, capex is required. People think that there is no business, so how to put capex? But that is not the question when it comes to cement. So that is, I think, a major difference in scenario between cement or any growing industry versus a industry which is a bit stagnant. So that has happened with cement, and that is why all the legacy equipment have been mounted with so many new things. Like in last 4 years, I must have broken, like, and not only me, it is a general case of cement industry. Every unit must have broken whatever record they had created in last 25 years. It is only because of, so whether it is power consumption, whether heat consumption, whether reliability, new refractories being worked out, people being trained. Like you ask anywhere, whether the kind of processes we are doing, like any project in cement industry, if a person is entering, I'm talking about Ultratech, where I was earlier there. Any unit will come to know that this worker, whether he had entered any unit or any project anywhere across 50 units of Ultratech, and what kind of record he is having, and whether he is a trained workman, and whether he already knows safety. So how much safety we should, like induction we should do, and how much. And so you can save a lot of time, and you can save a lot of this thing. So you can understand that kind of thing which cement industry as an industry has done in last 10, 12 years.
Yeah. Chetanji, so you're talking about, an openness with which, your industry operates. It's heartening to hear that. And I myself, I know that, when the distributed control systems, which they came into picture, cement was one of the early adopters for this DCS systems in the industry. And so now in the changing scenario also, there are a lot of youngsters who are watching this, and there are so many industrialists, could be startup companies, and they may be having a lot of ideas. Do you work with such kind of startup, industries, companies, and you encourage them to, share your problems and welcome them to come up with solutions? How do you address these things? Because this is another area where, you may be taking some helping hands, in doing all this smart maintenance and all.
Right. So like whatever I am saying, maybe 70% of it comes from somebody who is doing something new. Like whether we are tuning our processes, or whether I am looking at a new way of looking at safety, or whether you are doing smart maintenance. I was talking about mounting one SIM embedded device on top of your bearing. Most of them are coming from some or other startup. And then we are also collaborating with nearby colleges like NITs, which are nearby, or in some case IITs also, where actually you are giving them this set of problem, and then you are facilitating their visit, and then you are discussing or encouraging discussions with them. So and we are solving various problems. Like for instance, one simple problem in a project or maintenance can be that you are bound to complete your job and then ask somebody to come for inspection, and then this person will come and do inspection, and there will be a lot of time wasted because something is not done properly. So we collaborated with few students and their professors, and free of cost they made an app for us where you can do stage-wise inspection and keep on updating on app. And these inspectors who are from external this thing, and it is an open source thing. It is totally based on Android, and it is totally open source and free of cost. So they did this project, and you can easily see what inspection, what stage this thing has happened, what inspection they are going to offer after 4 hours. It will be keep on raising alarm, and right time inspector will be there and doing this inspection with zero waiting time or lag, and absolutely for free, done by final year students of one Gwalior engineering.
Excellent. So I just want to hear from Niranjan, how much time we have. We can go on. There are many things that, I can keep asking Chetanji. Niranjan, what time I have? Accordingly, I will have this conversation.
Ravi, I know we would all like to hear more inputs and insights from Chetanji, but we are running behind the schedule. So if you could wind up in the next 5 minutes, that would be great.
Okay. So I will blame it on Niranjan to conclude this conversation, Chetanji, and it has been my great pleasure. And you talked about institutionalizing knowledge. You also talked about how technology is playing an enabling role in one of the oldest industries in the world. And I'm also fascinated, how you are also making the old coexist with the new ones. and you are not sending them to old age homes. So that is also a wonderful thing for me to really understand. I have one last question, for you, Chetanji. Cement is cement, but then it has got varied applications. Say like what a poster what you have behind you. It can be into concrete sleepers, or into homes, or into hospitals, or into heavy bridges and dams and stuff like that. Traceability plays a very, very big role in terms of when there is going to be a problem. So if there is going to be a bridge collapsing, there could be variable factors that can go into it. It could be the steel, it could be the composition, or it could be the raw material, and one of the main things being cement. How do you connect that? You're saying that, raising your hands and saying that I'm okay, I have got nothing to do with this. So what is that single parameter which tells you cement was fine?
Yeah, so if you see, like, what you're saying is very correct, because even if you say cement is fine and then the structure for which it is being done collapses or does some tricky thing happens, then ultimately it is going to be, you cannot really shrug off that responsibility. So what we have done is we have created a technical services cell which actually works more with marketing and customers. And slowly in cement also, what I am seeing, there is a shift for like converting this commodity into some kind of service. So cement necessarily is a commodity, but what can happen if you convert it into a service where you say that I am making a bridge, or if you can say I am making a house, and then somebody comes from cement industry who has got all the knowledge of concrete and this thing, and holds your hand and says that, I can give you a better solution at much cost-effective solution, as well as more reliability and durability. So this technical services cell precisely does that, and we are now developing apps also where the customers or the masons or the traders can directly log in and connect with your technical services. So at any stage, not only once it is completed, once you buy, you are already in radar, and then we keep on visiting you, and you also keep on interacting with us, and we bring in various experts, not only. So it can be additive expert, it can be rebar, what kind of reinforcement bar you want to put, what kind of concrete mix is cost effective for you. So you need not go for M40, you may do it in M30 or M20 also, but you have to use this kind of thing. So that hand holding is very much there, where you actually ensure that end results are what they were expected and why they bought yours. So necessarily there is a shift from cement being sold as a commodity, from cement being sold as a service. So that itself is, and that you cannot do without getting continuous feedback loops and your follow through from each step. So that is what we are doing. And then there are more things in terms of using applications, connecting with them, daily reconciliation. There are many more things.
Thank you very much. So, the modern people, we are all aware of software as a service. So now you're adding that S, you're replacing with the C, right? Cement as a service. So with that, those parting words, I really thank Chetanji for, sparing your valuable time and bringing in lots of hands-on practitioners, thoughts and experience into this conversation. And I'm sorry, Niranjan, I exceeded time, but I think it is for the benefit of all of us. If not, it is for my own selfish benefit. Okay, blame it on me. Thank you very much, Niranjan, and thank you, Chetanji, for this wonderful conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Chetanji. Thank you so much, Ravi. No, the blame is not on you. I think that last question was extremely important. And that thought has also stayed with me, where he said that cement is more of a service now than a commodity. So it's really thought-provoking. So now we move on to our next session, and time to introduce our new speaker. But before that, we will have a very interesting video to play. So can we have the video, please? amazing. And now is the time to introduce our next speaker. I have with us Mr. Cornell Patel, Director Sales India, with TeamViewer for a special address. Krunal is the head of TeamViewer's India and South Asia region business. He has over 18 years of extensive experience in sales and business management. He has also held key positions in several renowned companies in the technology and enterprise software industry, such as SAP, Gartner, Intelligence, and S3, to name a few. Krunal, all yours. Please take it ahead from here.
Thank you, Niranjan. Hi, I am audible, and I hope you are able to see.
Yes, you are audible and you are on the screen right now.
Okay, so I have a short presentation which I will like to discuss, and then probably we can move ahead. So I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much, Pro MFG Media and the entire team for putting this together. I was following the various social media posts and various other marketing communication that has gone through, and it is really very, very exciting. And I'm sure the listeners would be very excited also. I was also part of the last session with Chetan, listening to him, and it was very interesting. So on that note, again, I hope everyone listening and everyone on the call are safe in the current times. And with that, the topic which I want to discuss today is how augmented reality is changing the way organizations are dealing with business operations. TeamViewer has been known for remote support, remote control, and our remote operation features since 2005. We have been delivering softwares which work on any device, anywhere. 2018, when we started working on our Industry 4.0 portfolio, 2020, we acquired UBMax in Europe and Upskill in North America, which gave us a lot of capability around augmented reality. And here we are discussing the same. So what is happening in the IT world, or in the OT world, I would say, is that we see a lot of digital transformation happening, but the digital transformation is fragmented. You can divide your entire employee workforce in basically two class. One is the people who are working on the desk with computer, and you have your backend systems like your ERP systems, your CRM systems, and so on and so forth. And then there are almost 70 or rather 80% in certain industry employees are deskless. They are people who are frontline workers. He could be a shop floor operator, a warehouse operator, and so on and so forth, or maybe a logistics manager, who are not actually having a desk and a computer. So how do we get this frontline workers into our IT systems or OT systems? How do we connect them? And that's the whole idea of having a connected workforce with TeamViewer Frontline augmented reality solution. This solution is aimed to capture the human-centric intelligence and put it into a process through workflows, through decision-making tools. And that will also, in the process, reduce the human errors and also guide the human when it is required. So typically managements are tasked around productivity. There is low output, sometimes breakdowns, sometimes performance management is issue, and same is the case for workers. They don't get support when they need it. They don't know what to do next at times, and then even if they know, it is very, very people centric. And then if the one person is not available, the whole process is stopped, and so on and so forth. And these are all obstacles to a seamless workflow. So how do we remove this entire person-driven operations and make it a process-driven operation using AR? So TeamViewer is basically giving you a complete suite of features and platform which will be available for your across your industry, across your business lines to automate this. Starting with the most horizontal use case, which is remote support, like see what I see use case, which means that if I am a engineer on the floor and there is a machine background and I need support from an expert who should come and guide me remotely to fix that, then I can just use TeamViewer Frontline on a smart glass or a smartphone and call an expert and take support. He can guide through an AR annotation, through file transfers, and so on and so forth to fix that problem. Next is maintenance. Inspections play a very critical role in maintaining it. Chetan was talking about digital inspection, and so we do have a ready product and solution which is guided with augmented reality to help the frontline inspectors to have a guided step-by-step digital inspection, which then converts into a digital report. Next is warehouses. Warehouse operations is one of the most critical part in any business process. So inbound logistics, outbound logistics, replenishments, warehouse inventory management are the areas where we can add value using our workflows and our AR glasses on top of on TeamViewer Frontline platform. We give a complete hands-free experience to warehouse operator to do his work properly. And we have actually quantified a lot of benefits on these areas, whether it is replenishment levels, whether it is real-time data analytics, or whether it is just ergonomics of the entire business operations and employee satisfaction. Finally, guided manufacturing is another area where we add a lot of value. There are so many repeated human-driven processes in the manufacturing assembly or manufacturing processes, which requires guidance. We have gone to some customers quantifiably improving the productivity of a guided manufacturing on AR glass with TeamViewer Frontline platform has given them around 40% improvement in the manufacturing process over someone who is doing that particular assembly or particular process, seeing a physical manual. So we see across the board, whether it is support, maintenance, product development, or operations and maintenance, we are able to add value to the entire factory. So that is what we have to discuss today. And I would be very, very happy to connect with each one of you online, offline, to basically talk more about it, how we can add value to your plant operations. We have customers across different size, different shapes, and different industries. We have pharma companies who are using TeamViewer augmented reality for standard operating procedures. We have manufacturing company using it for remote support. We have telecom industries using it for inspection. We have process industry using it for remote support, so on and so forth. So what the summary is that, it is a very ready, easily deployable, ready solution available. It supports you across your business process, and it is available and impacting all the industries across different size and shapes. So that was a brief introduction presentation which I wanted to do, and back to you, Niranjan.
Thank you so much, Pranal, for keeping it short, but at the same time very informative. I'm sure our attendees will find it very useful, and in fact actually sets the tone for our next panel discussion, which is about integrating technologies for plant maintenance. So it actually makes sense in listening and experiencing your presentation. So please stay with us because you are also part of this panel discussion. And let me introduce our other esteemed panelists here. I will start with Dr. S. Devarajan, Senior Vice President, TVS Motor Company, winner of the prestigious Rolls-Royce Award for Excellence in Manufacturing Concepts and Implementation in the UK. He has been working with the TVS Group for the last 38 years. During this time, he has been involved in many projects, including setting up facilities of press shop, welding shop, painting plants, heat treatment plant, machining of steel and aluminum engine parts, as well as assembly lines. Presently, he is the head of production engineering and new technology in the organization. Please welcome him aboard. Thank you so much, Dr. Devarajan, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan Govindrajan, CITO, Head Business Excellence and Asset Integrity with Vedanta Resources Limited. With 18 years of experience in different functions like operational excellence, quality innovation, and asset optimization, as well as digital transformation, he has also won several awards and accolades across various manufacturing sectors. Highly energetic and result-oriented about exploring new ways of doing things. By constantly innovating and converting new learnings to action, he enjoys the journey of transformation of culture as well as workplace. Very interesting profile. Thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thank you.
And I move on to our next speaker, who is Mr. Brijesh Kumar Verma, Digital Transformation Leader with Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicles, an industry leader with more than 16 years of professional experience. He is currently heading the digital transformation practices at Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicles. He has been accomplishing the value outcomes of large-scale digital transformation programs and comes with a very strong industry background as well as domain knowledge of manufacturing enterprises. Thank you so much for joining us, Brijesh. We also had another speaker, Mr. V. Venkat Narayanan from Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. Unfortunately, due to certain emergency, he has not been able to join us today. So I will immediately move on to our esteemed moderator, that is Mr. Ashok Muthuswamy, Vice President, TQM and Business Excellence with Tractors and Farm Equipment, that is Tata, with 3 decades of extensive experience in manufacturing, operations, Lean Sigma, supply chain management, quality, and project management. He has turned around businesses and implemented strategic improvements, positively impacting the bottom lines of various organizations. In his current role as the Vice President of TQM and BE at Tata, he is responsible for the continuous improvement across multiple plants, products, as well as processes. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Muthuswamy. It is a pleasure and privilege to have you with us. And now with that, I hand over the session to you. Please take it over from here. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I am so glad to moderate this session with all the august panelists. So with that, I was also fortunate to listen to the previous presentation also. And some snippets which I gather, which we all know is how these digital interventions have been transforming conventional industries. And I can go, there are numerous examples, like, how you take a 100-year-old industry, typically chemical industry or for that matter, cement industry. And how do you get that into a digital, in a digital environment, industry 4.0 digital? Those are extremely interesting topics. Very, very pertinent and do add tangible benefits to businesses. So with that, let me request my panelists. Maybe I will start with Dr. Devarajan. So Dr. Devarajan, maybe you can give us an idea about what are the new digital interventions in plant maintenance, whether it's managing assets, ensuring safety, or monitoring through remote. So what are out there, Dr. Devarajan, and what is it that you have used in TVS? Maybe if you could give us an outlet, that would be wonderful.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for Pro Media for this. See, basically what's happening in automobile industries, we are trying to see how to get the highest level of customer satisfaction, business growth and profitability. We are trying to capture all the data through sensorization, bringing the real data transparency. Finally, in terms of manufacturing, how to improve the OEE is a key area. The OEE has availability, output performance, quality performance, and majority of time, availability of assets is a key area. Downtime, regular downtime is there, but unplanned downtime, how to capture. We have got, our industry is quite old and we have got both legacy machine and the new machines. So first thing is to ensure that how to get data from the system. So we have tried to use many sensors from the old machines. We started using the hand-on lights as a part of initial area to say whether the machine is running or not running, capturing the data through a system and putting on the dashboard. So it is not straight away putting all the sensors. We went from the basics of putting the data acquisition system, going by the hand-on lights, taking the data. The next step is we went further, say, okay, our OES has to be improved, but it is not enough to say whether the machine is running. How well the health of the machine is there, how well the spindle temperature, the bearing, slides. We started using the FANUC MTI and trying to put the sensors into spindles, slides, and into the old machines and the new machines. One thing is every asset has a cost. Every asset has got a risk. cost, and definitely performance. How to interact risk, cost, and performance. So can we identify the problem before it occurs? For example, temperature, vibration. For different systems, different sensors are used. For example, conveyor. How to get the continuous current in the conveyor? How to have the details into the bearing failure in the conveyor? Winding areas, cable loose connections, gearbox overload. We are trying to go into elements of the machines, elements of the system. Oil seal failure, for example, or the stack conveyor, the chain tension, temperature sensing. Bearing failure, we're trying to use VFD, rolling out in terms of, and the PCB failures. And in terms of CNC, the system fan condition, system battery condition, in terms of servo spindle override of the feed, motor current, motor temperature. So it is not that we are trying to put sensor, but effective area, coolant, for example, coolant, hydraulics, lubrication, oil pressure, oil temperature. And we're trying to bring it in the front of the machine itself to say, before the problem occurs, can you take action? For example, robo. We're trying to use the pump, rotor, torque, axis motor torque, pressure. So what's happening is we are going to detail of the elements because our industry is quite a continuous industry. Every 20 seconds, we need to put a vehicle out. So we can't have stoppages of any account at all. We need to take action beforehand. We are trying to use many of the CBM, like what I mentioned, IoT in the assembly line, machine shop, sensors, vibration sensors, voltage sensors. And of course, in the last session, we're talking about AR, VR, bring the digital glass, remote feedback, and then taking action in terms of the paint plants, in terms of the exhaust, in terms of the paint plant emission. So it is end-to-end in terms of sensorization, data capturing. We have also partnered with many people like Predictronics, Infinite of Time, Fanuc, because what's happening is from old machines, new technology machines. So we may have to have a combination. One more thing I found out in all this maintenance is a combined effect. It cannot be given to only one supplier. I mean, it has to be joined with our team, with our maintenance team, with the operations team. And finally, how to get quick feedback, how to get the uptime. We always call it QCT, quality, cost, time for implementation, time for decision taking. So it's a continuous journey, and we have extended to energy conservation, putting the meters in the flow diagram, in terms of the power, in terms of the water, in terms of the recycling of the plants. So it is not only in maintenance of the machine, any machine which can give you output, where we can capture the OEE, where we can capture the data is most important in IT. So that's the area where we have gone into every step, and what's happening is a continuous journey. It is not like only once you do, it's a continuous journey of the maintenance and how to get the benefit for the customer from the quality angle, from this thing. I'll talk about this further when the discussion comes. But basically, we've gone into every element of machines, every element of assembly line, machine shop, assembly line, welding lines, capturing the data, having the visibility to the operator. Any problem, it goes back into the maintenance team to support. It's a joint effort in many of these areas and going to the actionable areas of maintenance. So it's a journey, and it's a very, very interesting journey. We can't say we can put only the new machine. Because our machine is old. We have to go with old machines. We have to ensure that we get data from every element, including the pump, including the water pump in my maintenance area, where to know whether it's working, whether giving the output what is required, and take action. So this is an area where it is an end-to-end which gives you benefit, and you have extended to the JIT lines. We have extended to the supplier lines. We are extended to the community. So I'll talk to you a bit later on this.
Wonderful, Dr. Devarajan. Some of the aspects that you mentioned are extremely, pertinent and also resonated with me. One of the things that you mentioned is about risk, cost, and performance. Yeah. Unfortunately, the cost is going down, and eventually it might not even be a factor. Like 20 years ago, this whole predictive maintenance is an extremely serious effort with all the sensors, which are expensive. They have to be hardwired, and so on and so forth. Nowadays, with all the sensors getting extremely cheap, no wiring is needed. All these things are like IoT and cloud-based, and I do recall rolling out one initiative 20 years ago. It's something which I rolled out like 6 months ago, and oceans of difference in terms of performance as well as cost. So it's extremely exciting time to be in the space. And I'll come back to you. I'll go to the other panelists, but one aspect which I like is you mentioned about going back always to the basics, whether it's TQM or and ensuring the basics before we get into all these digital stuff. Because you don't want to digitalize, which is not optimized. That is a very interesting topic, but I'll come back to you at the end of this discussion. So my next question would be to Lakshmi Narayanan. Maybe Lakshmi, if you could elaborate, what are the IoT technologies for remote monitoring and diagnostics? What is around, and what are the new developments in this space, Lakshmi?
If you can see me in the new developments which is already happening compared to India with other countries, I am seeing that close to around 60% we are going in digitalized in the present scenario, comparing to America or Europe, which PwC has resulted in the recent past. And I am finding that the changes is going faster, and there are a lot of new entrants are coming there from different other countries to India, and they are investing with us. And I'm seeing that there are a lot of startup companies are also growing in the recent past in the digital era. And we found in Vedanta also, we used to have a Vedanta Spark program where we have close to around 1,000 startup companies we have listed up. And from there, 300 companies we have been just started working with them. And some of the companies who have been directly approaching us, and then we have some kind of a tie-ups, and we gave the problems to them how to resolve these issues. It is not only a technology driven, and we gave the problem straight away. So this is my problem. Can you please help us the digital solution, and how I can able to how you and me can able to work together, and we invest them back also. So it's not meaning that we'll just give you hand once we see the results is coming out, and we invest them back. And there are new technologies also which we introduced, like there's a new company which has been took over at Bokaro Steel, where I'm working presently. I'm also data scientist. So what I've done is there are a lot of drones which we have been bought in there, because we spent a lot of crores of rupees in doing this surveying these kinds of mines where there are a lot of materials has been stoked in terms of raw materials. So these are been manned by different people. So what we have done is we have used drones not only just for only the survey purpose, although also we have understood that what is the volumetric analysis can be taken out, what is the volume which has been present over there, when the volume can be consumed, what is the time taken, and it helps in different types of planning as well. And we have the SAP HANA has been recently implemented, and then we have the IoT devices which has been connected through that, and we are taking out those kind of information through that, and then we are getting it done. So there are new technologies which are keep on developing, and if you can see, particularly say example, if you take some drones also, drones is used in many applications, even in mining, even in the confined spaces also, even in boilers inspection inside. It takes huge amount of time for anyone to go and inspect. So even there are some caged drones are also available today in the market, which can be used, and many companies are using, and we also tried it. And even we have a lot of tube leakages are also happening in one of our boiler plants, and we have some kind of a digital solutions over there, and then we have also implemented it. So it's a matter of, like as you rightly said, there are some old thoughts are also sitting there, and there is a new people are also sitting over there, and how you merge it. There are some operators who are sitting, who has done physically there, and how you wanted to bring that change. That is very, very key challenge, which is already there in our hand. So we know that digital is going to help us. And the way that we have been taking there to the plant, and the way that we are going to implement it, that is going to bring the change. So if we have a collaborative way, we have a lot of sensors in even in our drive systems. We have some NASA approved sensors we have bought, and there is a startup company who have been working with us. And we got a real-time sensors, and we also have a predictive analytics in our hand actually. And not only to me and my HODs, it should be there with the operator who is supposed to be using. So we have given it to the operators, but the challenge which you are facing right now is basically the operators are not taking on time, and they have old systems which is there in that plant, and you have some safety issues will be there if you give some kind of a mobile phones which you have been giving, that he will be playing with the mobiles. So there are some kind of challenges is there still, but I can say that 80-90% of the time we are able to make it success. in those areas, and we see there is a result is coming out. It is only a transformation of a mindset of a guy who is sitting on the ground to get changed. So that is the only challenge which we have been facing presently. But there are a lot of new technologies we got implemented and we have adopted. And the usage of this data is very, very key going further. We have done many number of Six Sigma projects or whatever projects we used to see, and everything is now available as open source. And it is ready-made available there with an automated machine learning algorithms with random forest or decision trees. Many algorithms we use today and get the predictive health of the equipment. So we have done that one, and we have tried with many of the sensors also, and I have saved many return on investment back to the organizations also. There are a lot of key successes also happened along with it. So our intention is very, very important, is what we wanted to do and where we wanted to use this kind of technologies and where we wanted to engage the startup companies. So that strategy should be very, very clear. We have a clear roadmap of the IoT 4.0. Sometimes what happens is there are one sensors when you bought in as for a particular application, it can be used in many other locations also. You cannot keep the drones idle. You can use the drones in some other locations for different other purposes. So, like for maintenance, we use drones actually. In some of the pipelines, we go and inspect. In oil and gas also, we used to do. Even in some of the areas, we do peripheral. Even the security used to do a peripheral stock where we deploy a lot of security guards in those locations. During patrolling. So many applications can be used. So there are two ways of looking at. One is from the digital perspective of take any one of the tool, how it can be applied. That is one way. Second is what is the problem you are facing, how this can be given it into the hand. Like I have used one of the recent tool, I don't have drawings. This plant has been to core and we found most of the drawings are not available. And you cannot go there and measure everything in a digital solution is required. So I set some kind of digital solutions. I am getting some 1 or 2% error is coming there still, but I'm able to make it up. I'm able to make it up. The same thing when I captured for that drawing making. What I've done is I have done into a kind of a training program also. So that's been converted into a kind of a training program, and the entire tanks, how it should be used, so can be used into a AR VR version, and then where you can convert these kind of technologies into a practical job. So this has been done evidently in many of the organizations today is now going on. The only thing is the adaptation at the ground level and the strengthening them on the ground level is very, very key for our stress.
Also like to add is this IoT gives us a tremendous chance to catch up. So now the whole playing field is kind of reset with the other, let's say, for lack of a better word, other advanced geographies. With the IoT, we can leap forward in terms of putting robust processes, because your processes, the dependence on people can be reduced. And you can also de-skill operations in the sense you don't need to have that extremely talented resources. You can figure out how these digital interventions can augment or relieve you of certain dependencies or ensure robust processes. See, for example, I know some large salt fields with 30,000-40,000 hectares of salt field, which had a challenge of operating various pumps. They've used this IoT, satellite, drones, everything to understand the various Bomi levels of salt and operate things accordingly. So these are excellent tools. I think we can talk all day about it, but for lack of time, let me move on to this question to Cornell about how do you deploy VR and AR technologies to improve asset life and also certainly improve our safety of our personnel first, and then how do we improve the safety of the assets? Yeah, maybe over to you, Rama.
Thanks. Thank you, Ashok, and thank you, everyone. Very happy to be part of this esteemed panel. The topic is, if you look at all of you are expert in your domain. I don't need to stress it more, but from the outside in approach, right from the planning stage, when you are doing a factory planning, and now we call it as a smart factory planning or a digital factory planning, to plant design improvements, operations, quality checks, maintenance, and all the other allied offices like warehouses or logistics and so on and so forth. Safety, productivity, and quality have been very important. So far, what was happening is that we used to plan certain things on the operational technology systems, and the execution used to happen like, the last mile execution was always manual. And then we said that, okay, we convert that into digital by collecting data. So we started putting IoT sensors, and we started making smart devices to get the next phase of automation, where we said, okay, how do we execute the last mile and start collecting the data? Then now what we are talking is that, okay, we have smart devices now. How do we make our resources smart, our people smart, and how do we ensure that they are taking the right steps and taking it in the right manner? Like, for example, if we look at a large automobile company in Europe, they use our technology basically to create 3D models of their parts, and that is used for training their employees on even without getting onto the floor. So that actually relates to productivity, safety, quality, and everything, because now you are using virtual simulators with a TeamViewer AR or 3D VR to ensuring that your employees are properly trained and they can then do their job well. Next is basically when the work is going on, the people require guidance. Manual or a physical manual for doing the guidance. And we have seen that when we digitize this manual and give it as a workflow onto a smart wearable using the TeamViewer AR platform, efficiencies have increased drastically, because one is up when it is available, two, it is complete hands-free, and a person ergonomically can achieve much more than he would otherwise do it using a physical manual. Third is expert on demand, see what I see. There have been, not that, we already spoke about the skill gap and doing work with less skilled employees. So how do we ensure that, the help is available when it is required? So using AR, VR, we are seeing that a very regular use case, not only internal to the factory operations or plant operations, but also to external customer support. We have a very large automobile company, like I can name that, it is Ford Motor Company, who is rolling out see what I see use case on TeamViewer, primarily to support their front end mechanics and the front end engineers to fix the level 2 or level 3 issues with the car, and so on and so forth. This is just an example. Finally, on the warehouse operations, so helping the logistics employee to find what to pick from where, to sort the things in the right manner, and that actually improves the whole warehouse efficiency. Now, the crux of this matter, or the summary of this entire automation, would be how do we use human intelligence at the same time, create that into a process, so that we all have experienced this in the past. If the warehouse store manager is absent today, then probably the replenishment level will drop drastically. If the lineman is not available in telecom, probably a lot of calls in that area would not be attended, because just that he knows the network very well and no one knows the network, and so on and so forth. So how do we take this human intelligence and put it into a process and then feed it back to the IT and OT systems, so that we can have advanced or a smart decision making? And that's how AR VR has become a very renowned technology. And what has happened in last 3 years, Ashok, is the devices have come up. We have now devices which are reasonably in price, as you said, cost. Network has improved, so we are seeing even adoptions of these solutions in remote places. And moreover, the software sophistication has also improved. So like if you look at TeamViewer software today, we operate on 3G, mobile hotspot. You don't need a very hi-fi bandwidth or a dedicated a leased line for delivering this solution. The solutions are working on normal internet, and they are secure enough for data transfer or for any other operations. So with the advent of all this, and with the fact that people are conscious about safety, conscious about quality, and conscious about process-driven operations rather than people-driven operations, AR VR is going to add a lot of value to next phase of automation.
Wonderful, Cornell. Yeah. I think you touched on few important aspects, especially in the end. What you said is improvement in connectivity, improvement in analytics. More and more with the deep learning, AI, ML, all that stuff. These all can be leveraged to put in extremely robust processes, which will be impossible just with human knowledge alone. Of course, human knowledge is the beginning of all these things. But with the advent of all these tools, if they are well leveraged, you can put absolutely world-class operations and run that with available skills. Even if you don't get the top skills, so the whole point is, see, you have a lot of people. Which is existing. A lot of people are available for employment with limited skills, and now if you could do that, you can tap into this huge pool of people. It will be beneficial for businesses, and it will certainly be beneficial for the individuals, and I think that will be a win-win. So good, Cornell.
In fact, one more example, Ashok, which I would like to cite here is probably in the tractor manufacturing industry, where you come from. Ubimax, which is the company which we acquired, worked very closely with John Deere to basically do smart manufacturing. So what is happening is, in assembly lines, a lot of things are automated, but there are still lot of parts which are human assembled. And if there is a delay in that particular small process, and Bridges also would understand that from the industry standpoint, it will add up to the delay in the overall turnaround time of the assembly. So if we are able to make that solution available, where we can have a guided manufacturing procedure for that floor engineer, who is while doing repeated job, his error rate can be reduced. Probably that will put a huge improvement in the overall turnaround time of the assembly. So we are seeing not only in safety, but also in operations, a lot of AR use cases which are relevant.
Understood, Cornell. In fact, you touched upon when you brought out tractor. In TAFE, also going back to Dr. Devarajan's point, what we did is we digitalize a whole lot of TQM aspects. So I would rather call it like a TQM next gen, where we talk about POKs, and also Dr. Dev touched upon Endon. What we did is we digitalized all these aspects, so that if a particular component has not been put into the assembly line, the tool on the next station will not work, because these are all linked in our MES and other instrumentation system. We call it PID loops in the instrumentation, all these things. So again, going back to my point, you are not just dependent only on diligent operators, but you have these interventions which will not allow you to make a defective part. So that's how you get the biggest bang for these assets. And TAFE has been a forerunner in these areas, with our quality levels and performance levels, which is significantly high. With that, I will move to Brajesh for the next question. Brajesh, how do we move from predictive to prescriptive maintenance using real-time analytics? And before you answer the question, maybe because there may be people who would like to get a little bit more information. What is predictive? What is predictive maintenance and what is prescriptive maintenance? What is the difference? And how do we move from this one to that one? Over to you, Brajesh.
Thanks, first of all, to all of the members and Pro Manufacturing panel for getting me here. So, very interesting question, and it's very exciting, buzzword into a tech world in terms of how to move the current state of your, any of the process from predictive to the prescriptive model. So generally, a very short and crisp difference that how do we differentiate between the predictive and prescriptive. Predictive is somehow when the machine or the process is giving you an insight that what gone wrong, basically what has gone wrong, and prescriptive is a stage where we can get the some insight that what needs to be done to prevent that, basically. So it is a next level of insight generation, and also what if capabilities around generating that what needs to be done if this defects would have occurred. So generating the capabilities from the machines or from any of the processes around getting it the capability to give the answers that what needs to be done is, we call it as the maturity state of prescriptive analysis. So largely the data whole set plays a vital crucial role in this whole transformation journey. And now earlier, when a decade back, when we see that machines were not too intelligent and we are not getting the too much of data insights from the machine, the leading stage of any organization would have stopped till the predictive stage. But now the machines are generating so much of data which can be harnessed in terms to get the insight and the permutation combination, and also the business rule book engines around it. So let's say if we are having some threshold of our machines where we have set some temperature from this range to this range, if it goes beyond it, it gives an insight that the machine is on a probability of a failure. But what if the capability it can propose to those insight that whether you have to alarm down the temperature, whether you have to reduce your input numbers to the machine, and so likewise putting the prescriptive in place required a lot of business insight and business essence to leverage the prescriptive stage, basically. So in my opinion, I would say that tech is there, technology is not a limitation, but altogether it requires a different mindset, the way the other panelists would have also spoken about it, like Lakshmi and Devarajan, and you as well, and Mr. Kunal. So it's a set of a mindset that how we would like to solve the problem. So what is the problem and what could be the nature of the answers around it? That sets up the basic fundamentals for the prescriptive maintenance around any enterprise side of organization. And it also depends upon kind of a complexity of an operation, complexity of machine, complexity of skill required at that point of moment. That is the basic essence we need to underline. And what is the criticality of those resources should be a prime factor while carving out your prescriptive digital journey for the plant maintenance. So that's my view in terms of how I translate and see this whole prescriptive journey for any organization.
Thanks, Brajesh. Yeah, in fact, I would like to add, also going beyond maintenance, this prescriptive. I mean, in maintenance, you use the parlance prescriptive, but in operations, you use advisory. See, with all this advent of all these digital capabilities, you move away from causation and you get into correlation. See, you have very rich data, not only based on one factory, but or one set of operations, but all the happenings throughout the world. You get the rich data, keep on analyzing, get more and more insights, and ability to come up with advisory is much higher. And with that big data, the correlation sometimes is brilliant compared to causation, which is based on a person's knowledge. Not that I want to overrule causation, but correlation is, it is relatively easier, and most of the time it is even more accurate, unfortunately or unfortunately. So with that, I would move to Dr. Devarajan. One point that you touched upon, Dr. Devarajan, about endons and how you still go back to basics. My question to you would be, what I would always like to say that TKM will continue to be relevant. So, in your view, what is that the digital interventions? How is it supporting the cause of TQM, or rather the other way also, like how TQM is supporting digital? So what is the synergy between these two animals, and based on your experience, Dr.
Excellent. I think it's a very, very interesting question. In fact, TVS is a strong TQM company. But basically, TQM has a big umbrella. It has got TPM, it's got lean into the umbrella, because what we are doing is for the customer in terms of the quality level, in terms of the consistency of output. So it is very important that it's a combination of all the things which gives you TPM and TQM. So what we have done in our areas are, like what I mentioned earlier, is put a lot of processes into the system so that the quality is built at the source, whether the component source, the supplier end, or component source at the each station, or even the machine area, how it is getting into this picture. So it is one thing is we have to, like what the business objective, the customer objective is very important for us to understand. In all these techniques, we have a lot of IoTs coming to the picture, but unless it is related back into business objective, others related back into the quality aspect. Quality means including the quality of the output, quality of the person, quality of the capability of the people. It's a combination of this. So in that context, all these digital tools will help in TQM. Is a main thing which are trying to work on. How? Because when you're talking about TPM in terms of the requirement of the people, it is a combination of all these things, like 7M conditions, whether material, method, machine equipment, material handling, sustainability, Mother Earth, all these things are related to give you TQM. All these aspects, like other panelists mentioned, team viewer mentioned, that everywhere you can have a seamless integration of all the things to give you results at each stage of the project. For example, alpha, beta, QP, and with a legacy machine, with a new machine, capturing all this data. So maintenance is a very important, especially for the health of the machine, remaining useful life of the bearing, for example, mean time to repair and mean time to failure, competency building of the people. All these things are quality. All these things are total quality management. So, and predictive analysis for the speed of decision making for the business. So we have to take all the sensors, all the systems into place to give us business results, to give us quality results, to give us competency. Second thing is, India is going through a huge change. A lot of things are changing in terms of EV vehicles coming in terms of everyone is related. I should know from my mobile phone what's happening to my vehicle. So it is going such a fast pace. We have to link towards the business, okay, and we have to link with the connectivity. So I think it's going to be huge in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years. All these things will become seamless like what we have on the cell phone. So finally back, it aids TQM. All these things is under umbrella of TQM, I can understand. And all the things are related from the business angle, from the quality angle. That's why I look at a combination of these things. Let's not look into isolation. Everything should result back into business. Everything should result back into quality. To the customer, finally. We are here for the customer. Secondly, one more thing I found is the final customer is a customer, person who buys our vehicle. But a first customer is an operator. How are we helping our facilities to talk to each other? How to ensure the consistency of output? So I'm going from the basics to the business and the growth, but let's not forget the basics. So that's why I say TQM is an umbrella where everything is related to each other. Secondly, one more thing I found out in many areas, according to what we have done, every element, including the water treatment plant, including the solar energy, what we are using, including the canteen areas in which solar is used, water purification. It's all a combination which can give you the business growth, the quality improvement, and that is TQM. So that's the way we have to look at the overall look at it, look at the future. And secondly, one more thing, we should be abreast of what's happening in technology. Huge one end, the technology is going up in a fast pace, industry is going in a fast pace. How we are able to get together, going to the basics, that is TQM. going into people competency, going to people of every element of machine. I feel it's a journey of both the best of both in terms of technology. Finally, it has to give it business result, and that's the way I look at it. And somehow I'm very much keen on making into a in TVS we always make into a system. We have correlation between the managing point, the checkpoints, and the KPI, KMI activity. Go into every element of work. It cannot give you result just by putting a software or just putting a tool. You have to get the basics from the elements, action taken consideration, analytics of it, get the business result of it, and look at the overall for the competence level. That's the way I look at it. I hope I made a point.
Right, Dr. Dave. In fact, based on even my own experiences, lot of TQM concepts, if you digitalize, you are just putting, it's amazing synergy that you get. For example, you touched upon an MPCP, which is DWM. If you could automate this whole DWM instead of having it in spreadsheets, if you could capture the performances from the system, if these MPCPs are automatically populated, triggers are sent for reviews. No, that's how you take this concept, but you digitalize. That means you're putting it on steroids, and you get extremely significant benefits. So these are all some of the aspects which resonated with me, based on also what I did earlier. One thing I really like to touch upon is these things never go out of fashion, whether it's Six Sigma, TQM, TQM. In fact, once when we were working on particular boiler analytics, first we tried to understand the causation through regression tools and clustering tools. And then we went on to dynamic SOPs and digitalization. So you don't ignore the basics, always leverage, ensure the basics are there, and then go for digitalization. That would be my view. With that, I would ask one more question to Cornell about what are your experiences, Cornell, in terms of productivity improvement or flexibility improvement? What is the data point that you can share? Like it goes 1x, 2x, 1.5x, 10x. I know it's kind of a very open question. The answer will be typically it depends on the situation. But what has been your experiences on this?
So Ashok, all of us have experienced this. We have been experiencing it multiple times because we speak to multiple customers, and you all have your experiences within your industries and your companies. But if you look at the entire digital transformation happening towards the operational technology, we see that the first challenge which we wanted to address was data, and that's where we started innovating and putting sensors and started collecting the data. The second challenge which we wanted to address was how do we use that data, and that's where analytics came into play and advanced data science, AI, ML, maybe predictive or prescriptive maintenance came along. What we are seeing is the third phase where we say that human is in center of all this. The person who is executing the job, if he is not equipped properly, or if he is not getting the support what he has to do, or even forget that if he is not given the guidance what he has to do, then probably that could be a point of failure for the entire productivity process of the whole plant. And that's where enterprises are now evaluating that how do I empower my this frontline worker, and empowering this with information, with actions, and with support is what we are seeing as the next phase. Now, when you put all this together, I'm not saying that one or the other will solve the productivity puzzle, but when you put all this together, like you have automated smart devices collecting the data, you have good analytic systems to take which can help you in your decision making, and then you have your people who are doing the action connected as well at the point where the data is collected or where the action is happening, and then all this is reported properly. We have seen a drastic improvement in productivity up to 40%. Sir, it could be in the whole process or as a part of the process. but there is significant improvement in process. Like for example, if I take fixing a particular assembly, like it could be an electrical box, or it could be an electronic machinery of a helicopter, or a micro assembly of a car. We have seen anything between 25 to 40% improvement in the productivity of that person. Not only that, it is also there are other KPIs which companies are monitoring, like the error rate. There are also soft KPIs like the employee satisfaction, improvement in the skill, and all this put together. Can we create a knowledge organization? Which means that, if there is a breakdown which happens, and if there is an episode which was created around that breakdown, and the remote support was provided by an expert remotely from maybe Germany or from any international plant, and we record that and keep it with us, can that episode be for future reference a knowledge repository? So moving from data collection to data analytics to appropriate action, and keeping the person in center of all this, and then creating a knowledge organization has actually led to a lot of productivity improvements in enterprises. Even in point opportunities, where we have point opportunities to improve, if we can improve the breakdown, if we can improve unscheduled breakdown time reduction by 30%, that's a huge improvement in the overall plant operations. If we are able to improve the replenishment level in the warehouse by say 30%, we already saying that in outbound logistics we'll have 2 more trucks going every day out rather than the current 5 trucks. And these are quantified productivity improvements which we can get, and the technology what we are talking is augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, hands-free operations on TeamViewer platform, connecting it with your backend systems. These are not isolated systems. These are systems which are connected with your SAP systems, which are connected with your warehouse management systems, which are in front end connected to your smart readers, whether it is a QR code reader, whether it is a barcode reader or an RFID tag reader. And in the entire application landscape, as a OT application landscape, we fill in the last mile gap to ensure the right data is connected, the person takes the right action as per the guidance which system is giving him, and after all reports it properly, so that for future references a good knowledge organization can be created, and all this adds up to the productivity. Ashok.
Yeah. In fact, I can relate to our own cafe here very much with a lot of digital investments that has been made in cafe, right from creating a part geometry to assembling it digitally to getting the prototypes built, having the tractors built in the plant using advanced MES, and as I mentioned, digital POK. These tools gives us tremendous flexibility and productivity, and more importantly, ensures that customers get extremely high quality product, which really makes them happy. So it's up to us, how we can keep on going forward in this journey for all of us to see how these tools, these interventions, and these developments, whether it's in terms of hardware or whether in terms of software, analytics, all these things, how we can harness this more and more, that we continue to build world-class capabilities in our own country. And in my view, this is, again, like as I touched upon earlier, now the whole playing field is kind of reset, and it's becoming even more level playing field. So it's for us, countries like India, to see how we can harness these developments and come up with absolutely world-class products and challenge the rest of the world. So with that,
Ashok, just to add there, product development life cycle also has tremendously augmented because of the turnaround times improvement in the data analytics, and how we are having the historic data. So that is one other productivity area. After sales support is another big productivity area. Because we are working with customers who are using our AR web service just for remote inspection. or for remote maintenance. And those are live use cases where we see significant productivity improvement, like BMW or Ford Motor Company. If we are able to say, if the car comes in for a repair, and if we are able to reduce that time in the garage by 2 days, it's a huge improvement in the overall productivity. So we see practical life examples which are aiding to productivity, and we have solutions to support that. Ashok.
Thanks, Pranav. So with that, I would really like to thank the organizers for this opportunity, and over to you, organizers. Thank you so much, panelists also.
Thank you so much, everybody. And let me first express my heartfelt gratitude to all our wonderful panelists, starting with Dr. Devarajan, Mr. Govind Rajan, Mr. Prajesh Verma, Mr. Kunal Patel, and of course, our super moderator, Mr. Ashok Muthuswamy. It has been an educative experience listening to all of you, and I'm sure all our attendees, as well as the students who have been part of this session today, they will have a lot to take home with them. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will move on to our next segment, which is the poll. But before that, a quick announcement. We will be having the lucky draw as promised, and the 5 winners would be announced on our website as well as social media. So stay tuned till the end. And now we move on to the poll questions, the second poll of the day. And the winners, or rather the answers of the poll questions, the results of the poll questions will be displayed on your screen. So stay tuned with us. And here comes the first question. We will give you sufficient time to register your answers, not to worry. I hope everybody has registered their answers. Here come the results, and now we move to the second question. All right, time for the third question of the poll. Okay, so these are very interesting results, and I'm sure we will learn a lot from these results as well. Now it's time for the last but a very important formality of the day. I will like to invite my colleague, Mr. Manish Kulkarni, Director Pro MFG Media, to deliver his closing remarks and share his vote of thanks. Manish, all over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Niranjan. Thank you for the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks. Engaging, educating, and enlightening. These are the first 3 words that come to my mind immediately after experiencing this significant summit on plant maintenance this morning. And it has been possible only because of our brilliant speakers who shared their valuable and practical insights with us today. Well, it is exactly for this reason that we call them as industry leaders. Thank you everyone for sharing the practical insights, and let me also express my heartfelt gratitude to our partners in this journey of excellence. Our presenting partner Loctite, our associate partner TeamViewer, our knowledge partner IITI Drishti CPS Foundation, and our academic partner, the Center for Lean and Six Sigma CLASS SRM Institute of Science and Technology. Human and operator is at the center of empowering and for empowering him and her using advanced technology to take informed decisions for effective plant maintenance is one of the key takeaways from this session for me. The operator is your first customer, and KYC, know your customer. Also, we heard about KYM, know your machine, and Henkel's tagline says it all, we love machines. So love your machines as well as know your machines and satisfy all your customers, including the operator, who is at the center of everything. I thank all the participants, the audience who have been actively participating and listening, and also the students of technology. There are several students who joined from both IIT and SRM. I thank you for your time and your interest. The journey has only started. And of course, my closing remarks would be incomplete if I do not thank my own colleagues at ProMFG Media, who have been the driving force behind this initiative. This is the second edition, as you know, of the Plant Maintenance and Asset Management Summit. And tune in for more things to come on our platform. Follow us on LinkedIn, ProMFG Media, and stay tuned. Thank you for all. Thank you all for your attention and a great afternoon ahead. Thank you. Namaskar.